Okay, so these are my initial ideas. There's 3. First one will be based around kind of an old house based on a older couple, well, an older gent living by his own.
Sorry to interrupt. This is a short film, yeah?
Yeah, sorry, short film.
Yeah, cool.
And it's basically he's been separated from his kids. His wife's passed away. Well, went missing. He's got very little contact from the outside world, and his grandkids have found him. They're quite young, 14, 15 age, and they're visiting him for the first time. So, and he's telling them, like, they ask him if he wants to play in the woods or something, and he's telling them never go in the woods, don't do it, bad things happen to people that go into the woods, and all these things are kind of linked with shots of a flashback of him and his current wife walking in the woods and noises, and then it goes back over to him in his house, and you see him still talking, but maybe bits in his house moved and changed. So it kind of, whilst he's explaining about the woods, there's parts changing and it's all kind of getting a little bit more dark. And then it elaborates into him saying, well, it's where his wife went missing in the woods. There's people saying there's things in the woods. So it links it again to folklore. So old myths, legends, whatever it is. And just general, he'll have like some form of scars of some kind of encounter with something in the woods. And so, but it's mainly going to be tension through the sound. It's going to be very low-key lighting. As it goes on, it gets darker. So all the parts in his thing. So I was thinking, there's a picture, and in the picture, each time you see it, parts of it change. Things are added, things are taken away. Maybe there's something in the background, like a figure you can't quite see.
Do you mean picture like photograph?
Yes,
Yeah,
a photo on the wall.
Oh,
so
yeah, that makes sense.
All giving things which are all very mysterious, and that lead a lot of questions asked.
Okay. Do you want to go through your ideas, or do you want to discuss in between? It's your pitch, however you want to do it.
I'll go through them.
Okay.
Okay, so the second one is based in a house and graveyard. Keep the story short, there's two teenagers around our age, so 17, 18, living together, and one of them passes away. They're down at the funeral in a graveyard, and obviously paying respects, as a funeral does. Picture of them together. Then she walks back up to the house, but notices the door's slightly open. So obviously goes in, someone there looking around, maybe picks up a knife or something to look around the house, check bedrooms everywhere. No one there, locks all the doors, windows, so, keep yourself safe. But as she's in her room and as the night goes on, things start to change. You start to hear noises, and one of the main parts, there's going to be her lying in the bed, and at the end of the foot of the bed, there's going to be a dark, you can't see it, it's a blacked out figure of a woman, crazy, like messed up hair, moving very mysteriously, just kind of appearing at the end of her bed, and maybe grabbing her leg or something, as a big jump, and doing that, so lights all come on, disappears, thinks it's all safe, walks around, more goes wrong, even more mysterious things, then decides that she's, it'd be better getting out of the house with what's happening, after seeing all kind of mysterious things. Obviously goes downstairs, remembers the door's locked, goes back upstairs, keys are gone, and at this point she's panicking, the lights, mysterious things when the lights are off, she wants the lights on. So she's got a torch on her phone, where there'll be a lot of kind of handheld camera, as if it's the phone looking around, and which gives good opportunities for obviously turning, and you can get good jumps that way. But leading to an end, and it's basically she finds the keys, but also just a dark figure just staring at her, but not moving at all. The torch camera shines on it. You see the face. It's actually the friend that was passed away, but white eyes, kind of all, not disfigured, so you can tell it's her, but like possessed or demon or something like that. and then obviously finishing on a kind of a jumping towards the camera and leaving that on a dark. Tension's going to be built up a lot through sound. It's going to be quiet a lot of the time, and sudden like kind of bursts of loud sound of certain things keep the audience on edge and build tension. It's going to be quite dark, so, and obviously the dark figure, everyone's questioning what's it look like, what is it, all stuff like that. That's the second one.
Mm-hmm.
Third one is again based around a bedroom, but it evolves around the whole idea of something called shadow people. So again, like Idea 2, but on a kind of almost bigger scale, not as in depth, but a lot of different figures that are blacked out, people, you know, they're harmless, as people say, going through, it's more of a documentary style, but so it's interviewing people that claim they've seen them, and eventually you get to one person that's kind of very nervous, jumping about, she's almost like kind of screaming about them, how she claims she's attacked by one that none of the others ever have. They've just seen them when they've been in bed or asleep. They've just been watching over them in a way. But she claims she's been attacked, so a reporter goes to the house, looks around, see what she can find, decides she'll spend the night there, obviously a stupid mistake, and things lead to another, you know, doors slamming, things falling off walls, you know, strange things that no one can explain, but again leaving it on, this one will leave on a lot more of a kind of cliffhanger, because it'll be the person doesn't know how to get out. They've been trying to get out, it won't let them get out, but you don't actually know what happens to them. It just cuts off, and that's where it leads, because she'll set up cameras around the house, so lots of different angles as if they were security cameras, and through it going out one by one until you're left with one other one, and that just cuts out, and you don't know what happens, which is the mystery which has been left there with you. And that's all of the ideas. Anybody got any ideas on Idea 1?
Remind us what Idea 1 was, in a very short, potted way.
The Idea 1 was the older, about the woods and how his wife went missing and the grandchildren and that one.
I really liked that one. I thought that was really good, because you can really, like, a woods is a really good scene for, like, horror, and you can get some really cool shots in there. Like, you can just figure out some way of doing, like, a low down, like, look from the top of the woods looking down. And, for, like, little children and an old person, it's really, like, a difference in people. It would be really good for that, like, scary sort of vibe.
How about the rest of you? What do you think of this first idea? With the old man and his grandchildren and the don't go into the woods, with the flashbacks?
I like the way how you say about moving everything around after the flashbacks.
With the framed photo.
Yeah, because it gives a sort of sense of something's there but they don't know it.
Yeah, it just keeps on changing, giving it it's kind of the audience always kind of drawn to that first when they see it, because they want to see, oh, is something changed? And so something could be changed, but whilst they're looking at that, something else could have happened. So it kind of draws their eye away from what could be happening in order to make them even, you know, question it and be more confused about what's happening.
I think you'd have to write the script quite carefully to steer away from being quite cliched. I think it's definitely doable. I think it's a nice concept. I agree with these pair. I think you just need to make the scripting as natural as possible.
I think pictures would be very powerful with that one. Like, you could have the old person saying, like, don't go in the woods, but then the flashbacks could be kind of be saying it in itself without having to have words over it. You could see, like, a picture of him and his wife, and then her, like, a news flash of her going missing and things, and the video would kind of tell it without having, like, the script being too overwhelming.
I think that's a really good idea, actually. The more you can tell through images, and the less you have to do with vocals of this happened and then my wife went missing kind of thing, the better. I think that's a really good point.
I've seen a lot of ideas looking into different short ones of the frame over kind of a hole in the wall, and from behind it you can press stuff against it and make it look like something's actually moving around on the picture, which if he's talking about don't do something in the woods, I haven't quite figured out how, but some way link it in to give it another element of something to it.
Okay, cool. Let's talk about the other two because let's keep going.
Okay, idea 2 was the one with the starting at the graveyard and then in her house and slowly things moving. Shots from like in front of her, looking out the window, and you see someone in the background. But obviously shit around isn't there. Stuff like that.
I quite like the idea of the camera and the phone when you walk around looking.
So like a handheld camera. Yeah.
I feel like that is quite. It's good, but it's almost like a very traditional sort of horror movie. Like you can even do shots like that with the woods one, like the handheld ones, like looking around the woods in a way. Compared to, it's a very, a normal horror story. You're hearing noises in the house. You're seeing a woman figure. It could be a bit different.
I think almost with the second one, it's traditional, but I think the reason I've kind of swayed towards it a bit more. The reason for that is because people think of the traditional. They think, someone's going to be over there, that's going to happen. But knowing they're thinking that, you do something else. So they've gone into it thinking it's traditional horror, and they can guess what's going to happen, but the sequence of jumps and events is completely different to what they expected.
Yeah.
So it draws them into it a lot more, and it actually, if you're expecting that to happen and it's actually something else, it can make them almost jump a lot more from doing what they don't expect in a way.
So it's more to do with the subversion of the genre rather than the adherence to the genre for you with this one?
In a way, I like it because, well, like I said, people think of the traditional, and if you can change it, and change it from the traditional, they turn around, there's someone there, then the way that you set up your kind of jump scares can make it, well, it can make or break it. It can either make it an amazing one or absolutely rubbish. Oh, I saw that to be a mile away, something like that.
Yeah, so I think, again, that would have to be really carefully put together.
Yeah.
Because things like, she's in bed and something grabs her, that's quite a traditional narrative, isn't it? And, like, running around the house, oh look, there's a Samira kind of
with
ring.
Like with the foot of the bed, I'm thinking elements of traditional, so it keeps their mind going. It's a traditional horror. 'Cause if I make, So if you just do something traditional at the beginning and then it all goes off funny, then they're already thinking something else. But if through it you have even small things like someone at the end of the bed or they've gone downstairs, it keeps their mind thinking it's traditional when actually it's completely different from traditional. It kind of keeps them distracted from it.
Okay.
And then any ideas on the last one, which was the in the bedroom and the whole kind of mythical shadow ideas?
That's my least favourite.
Yeah, that was my least. Anyway, I kind of did 1 and 2, and I liked both ideas, and then was stuck on a third one. But
I like the idea of, sorry, I know it's not to be me as part of the focus group, but I like the sound of my own voice. I love the idea of seeing all the security cameras and them going off one by one.
Yeah.
I think that's an interesting shot, but I wonder whether the concept of horror documentary is going to limit you a bit. I think it's a nice idea, but I think the other two are stronger.
Yeah.
What do you think, other four? You're nodding.
Definitely the weakest of the three.
Yeah. So, other four, which would you go for? Would you go for Old Man, Don't Go Into the Forest, or would you go for Girl with Dead Friend?
Well, I might do number 1, because then you can spoil the relationship between the grandchildren and the grandfather since the first time you've seen them. But they've seen each other.
You'd go for that one, Anna?
I'd go for the woods one as well, the first one.
Jake?
The woods one.
Woods one?
I'd go for the woods one as well.
But you're leaning towards the second one.
I'm still leaning towards, there's still a lot more thinking to do.
Exactly.
But I think if I can get it, so flipping it from the traditional, I think if I can get that right, then it'll come into a really good kind of short film, if it gets right, if that makes
You
sense.
could do some quick sketch, like storyboarding, not proper storyboarding, but almost trying to work out the narrative of both. You could run with both ideas for a bit.
Yes, it'll be quite hard to pick one of the two, but...
You can mix them up together. So if there's Don't Go in the Woods, like I've lost my wife, and then there's her like haunting the grandkids in the house, which is the woman.
Or maybe it's the the grandmother that is the person that's dead or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's worth thinking about. Good. Thank you.